Parents of Reddit, why are you disappointed in your adult child? He got a $200,000 inheritance when his father passed away 2 years ago. He is broke now. Pathological liar. 33 years old and he would rather walk 10 miles to tell a lie than to stand still and tell the truth. His ex-wives all found out the same thing. My son is 25 and was diagnosed with bipolar disorder at around 15 years old, maybe younger. After he became too old and too big for me to manage his meds, he refused to take them and his life has been a roller coaster of disasters ever since. Between prison time, juvie and adult, bad decisions, suicidal ideation, drug use, fathering 2 children he doesn't see, same mom, and insisting on making up reasons to not speak to Emmy. I'm done. Because honestly there's nothing I can do for him. At this point I'm just waiting to get a phone call on where I need to go to identify the body. He's 20 and refuses to go to college or get a job. He lives with his mom. So all I can do is talk to him about it. I fear for his future. Like, we, his parents, aren't immortal and he doesn't seem to have self-preservation skills. I'm not disappointed in my 18-year-old. But I sure wish I knew how to activate him. He graduated in May. Has no desire to go to college and no real aspirations at all. He's pretty much been in his room on his phone since. He's struggled for many years with anxiety, which we're treating. And I know a lot of things are difficult for him. But man, I wish I knew how to get him excited about something, anything, whether it's a job or a hobby or a plan or whatever. My son is 24 and, by some standards, disappointment. He has a degree and no job. He struggles with motivation. And his sleep patterns are terrible. I don't think he has a plan to move forward with his life. Earlier in the year, my husband, his dad, was diagnosed with cancer. I thank God every day for my slacker son. He is so kind. Every time he makes dinner because I know you must be tired or comes and gives me a hug when I get home from work makes it possible for me to keep going. He's 42. Lives with his dad. Is 6 years into a 2-year degree. And has gone through 4 decent cars in the last 6 months. His dad bought the cars and he trashed them. He's also threatened physical abuse to his dad. He disowned his older sister over a political argument on Facebook. She said, I'm leaving this discussion before we say things we'll regret. And he tried to forbid it, saying if she left she was disrespecting him and was no longer related to him. Following this thread to see what I can do to be a better child to my parents while I still have the chance. I'm disappointed in my son because he is too much like me. He's a solid introvert who is afraid to ask for help and doesn't want to bother people, even with very legitimate requests. He is an expert procrastinator. I remember being that age and being so much like that. I'm not sure how I got through university. But I've been a successful engineer for 30 years, so I've still got a lot of hope for him. Also, both my kids vape smoke. We've been anti-smokers for all our adult lives and I'm sad to see them choose to do something negative like that. They both want to quit but it's a tough road. For those who don't have disappointing adult children, I can always be yours. Edit. Thank you so much for my very first Reddit award. It's well appreciated. Edit. First gold and first post to break 100 upvotes. No drive. No ambition. And no work ethic worth a damn. He's 25. He peaked in 6th grade. Hi mom. He is 31 and has been a hardcore addict, meth, heroin, since age 15. He has put us through hell. I'm disappointed and we are estranged, but he is still my son and I love him. My ex-husband was the son that my parents wanted their actual son to be. So they're pissed that my brother isn't like him and they're pissed that I divorced him. Double whammy. Never mind that we just fundamentally did not work as a couple. They basically see it as me stealing away their chance at having the perfect child in a son-in-law. Oh well. Following this thread to find my parents. clicked because, for some reason, I was looking to hate myself more. Found fewer reasons for that. Surprisingly. Well played. Reddit. Edit. Whoa. Thank you so much for the silver. Edit part 2. He's a deadbeat dad for his first daughter, which means I can't see my first granddaughter anymore. Has been in and out of jail since the age of 11. Is a multiple offense convicted felon as an adult. Who will steal from anyone, myself and his mother included. And has threatened to have most of his family members killed. He is known to carry stolen firearms and frequently uses his brother's name to try to avoid being caught. He's a drug addict, living with a drug addicted girl, and they have now had 2 more children together, both of whom suffer from the effects of their parents' drug addictions, fetal drug syndrome. Because they are now 30. Still in my basement. My mum's disappointed that I left a UACUT 33. 000 a year job for a UACUT 28. 000 job because I had 2 mental breakdowns. Even though everything is now perfect. Sometimes we just have to get on with it. I'm still not sure what my parents think of me. I was the promised child who got 99th percentile on aptitude tests in kindergarten. Ace tests. Memorized the presidents by age 4, at my dad's insistence. And ended up just blundering my way through school because what started as a bad habit of not doing homework eventually amalgamated into depression-driven apathy about education. I dropped out of college and I've spent more of my time in therapy learning how to be a good person and be happy. Which does make my mom happy. But I can feel my entire extended family's disappointment in me that I chose to work an 8-5 job and just live in an apartment with my cat. On the bright side, I'm more confident in my life choices than I ever have been and wouldn't trade the positive mindset I've been working so hard on for any amount of work discipline. OHH, good timing. I have to be semi-vague but hopefully you get the gist. My middle daughter is 19 but we've had issues her entire life. I strongly suspect BPD narcissism. Currently her infant child has been removed from her care by CPS for multiple reasons, notably her erratic behavior she showed and continues to show and also heavy marijuana use. We suspect other drugs at play but have zero proof. Instead of cooperating to get her child back, she has fought kicking and screaming every step of the way, making it much harder than necessary. At the same time blaming her mother and vilifying her to the point that she has lied to CPS in an attempt to have them remove her 4-year-old sister from her mother's care. Calling old friends and family, giving them a hugely false story in an attempt to alienate her mother and have zero friends and help. It's a giant mess she's created and refuses to take any blame or acknowledge that she's the issue at all. He doesn't like garlic bread and plays the violent farming simulator. My mom is extremely disappointed with me because I'm not having kids. It was my sole purpose in life. Hits her husband. Calls him worthless and leaves him alone with the baby for days without telling him she's going anywhere. He will come home from work and she's gone for 3 days in a 5-star hotel with a spa treatment. It's a little scary to read this as the father of a 5-month-old. My son always viewed me only as a milking cow. He doesn't care about anything but his own happiness and even refuses to talk to me. If it's still like this when he turns 2, I'm done with the entire affair. My parents are disappointed in me because I won't pretend I wasn't damaged from their abuse. My mom held getting a degree as one of the pinnacle achievements you can do because it was such a big deal to her going back to school and getting her degree in her 40s. As someone who works in IT, I dropped out about a year into school and haven't looked back. That was 10 years ago. I hid that I dropped out for many years before I actually told her. She was disappointed. But in my opinion, the astronomical cost of a degree does not have a good ROI. And in IT, I've worked up to a very high salary level without one. Certifications, mentors, learning on the job and at home. To me, a 4-year degree doesn't make much logical sense in a fast-moving field like this one. This thread just sent me spiraling down the depression rabbit hole and makes me never want to show up to another family function again. Sincerely. He is in prison for life. I really can't say I am. In any way. I am a lucky guy. In that respect. All three of my adult kids are f***ing rocking at life in very different, but equally awesome ways. Not my kid, but my 23-year-old brother still lives at home. No job and not going to school. He treats women like shit, including me, my sister and my mom. He was the fourth and last kid way after us, and so my mom spoiled him like crazy and never made him do a damn thing. She's always saying that she has no idea how he's like this. She's a hard worker. I tell her that maybe it's because he's never actually had to do anything, so nothing motivates him. I've told her to kick him out so many times and she's too scared of where he'll go. He may live with her forever and her poor stress levels are just building and building. I have vowed numerous times to my husband that our son will never be like my brother. It's so sad to say that. My 22-year-old daughter is morbidly obese, covered in tattoos, and a complete slob. I blame myself. I'm a failure of a parent. When I took her to see her therapist one time, I thought about killing myself just for the irony. The one in the car was the more depressed one. Maybe you should see a therapist too? Dealing with difficult situations doesn't have to be done alone. Therapy exists for a reason. I genuinely think it could be helpful and show you how to frame your relationship with your daughter in a healthier way that will be better for both of you in the end. I'm not. Life is hard and she had dealt with a lot. She may not be fully independent yet, but she's working on it. I see her effort and I'm proud of her for it. Maybe I could be disappointed she didn't do more stupid stuff when she was young, but I'm just glad she didn't end up like me. Eater. I'm not in a bad place now, but I'm sure as hell lucky to have gotten here and not ended up dead in a ditch somewhere. Following this thread as a new parent to see what joys I have to look forward to. Hey. I commented some pretty negative stuff about my daughter, but I just dropped my youngest son off at his first day of college at the dorm today. Kids are a mixed bag. 50% nature, 50% nurture. Kids start out with their personality and they aren't all good or all bad. You can raise two in the same household with completely different outcomes. My parents are disappointed in me because I am trying to plan my wedding 4 months in advance. My parents are currently planning their wedding 2 months in advance. I'm not. I was blessed with 2 awesome kids. I really don't deserve such great kids. It looks like an egg and smells like cabbage. After Trump won, my eldest lost it and abandoned his wife to run off with a PRN star and live in the Ukraine. He barely communicates with anyone except his grandmother on his dad's side. He totally erased himself from all our lives. My other 2 are sweet, normal, fine young humans. And there's no insanity in either of our family histories. Prior to his, he had the same job for over a decade, creating signage for ambulance and rescue vehicles. He does have a history of recreational drug use, but to my knowledge there was never an addiction issue and it didn't FCK up his brain chemistry or anything. He always just seemed normal when hanging out. It was just like he snapped. There's a part of me that's sad at the loss of him, and resentful. But I'm more angry at his dismissing his little brother and sister. It's like they never even had a big brother. Now. Lol. Is the Trump victory the reason he gave for running off with the Ukrainian PRN star? They were. I got kicked out of school, hung with the wrong crowd, and ultimately paid for it on my own end. But I've been steadily employed for close to 4 years now. Graduated college and community college and I'm in the process of proposing to my longtime GF. I know I was a disappointment for a while, but they never gave up on me. I don't know what I would do without them. Thanks mom and dad. Nice try son. You guys ever heard of Rich Bornholmer? He went on a spree killing in Pittsburgh in 2000 targeting Jews and immigrants. Ironically, he was a lawyer who specialized in cases of fighting illegal immigration. His parents would come into the store I worked about once a week. They were both disturbingly quiet people. Very soft spoken, and they both always looked down at the ground when they would speak with anyone. I can't imagine what it's like to be Richard's parents. I feel terrible that their child is a psychopath and it's public knowledge. Edit. When I said fighting illegal immigration, I meant he worked for immigrants, getting them citizenship. The ironic part is he went on a racism-fueled killing spree, murdering the people who he'd fight for in court. I think my parents are proud of my academic and career achievements. My dad was secretly pleased I ended my relationship with a guy he didn't like for always upsetting me. My mom tried to get me to get back with him, and I think she's disappointed my relationship didn't work out because she was married and lived happily ever after at 22, and now I'm 29 and back at home and single. Maybe she isn't, but that's the feeling I got for weeks after we split. She cried more than I did. This annoys the hell out of me. There are often threads with interesting questions that give particular people a chance to talk about something and give the inside view. And those threads are full of people who just want to talk about themselves and speculate about how others feel. Somebody in the thread further up just used this thread as an opportunity to talk shit about her ex. Nobody cares. The question isn't why do you think some parents you know might be disappointed in their children. I am not disappointed in them. I am sad that I did not know enough to do better. She, 22 years old, posts videos of taking bong hits and how much she loves weed. She opted out of any tech training or college we encouraged. He, 20 years old, immediately started doing drugs and binge drinking as soon as he started college. Looking back, probably hid it in high school. I'm not. Yet. I have 4 bio, 2-step, 19-26, and no college degrees. Only one earnestly taking classes. However, I have no room to complain. It took me 14 years to get a STEM degree and I was living hand to mouth until I graduated. Sometimes hungry. One is in the army and his prospects look much better than mine at his age, so there's that. I feel petty after reading others' posts. I've got a 20-year-old son who is smart, kind, and very academically motivated but is a slob. I'm talking about gross stuff like toenails left on his desk. Wads of hair stuck to the shower wall. He doesn't shower for days. And his room smells like there is a dead prostitute under the heaping mounds of dirty laundry. I raised him, so I guess ultimately the onus is on me. I have a Doberman. He never uses his time wisely. Like in the mornings. I have a limited amount of time to take him potty. Like Jesus, dude, stop smelling grass and take a shitty already. But I digress. Okay, I am going to read this thread. She accused me of RPing her because she didn't like getting grounded. I want to give a reverse perspective. I have a high school age boy, one of 3 kids, who sometimes jokes that he's disappointing us and that he's kind of a loser. And I feel so awful when he says things like that. If you feel like that, I want you to know that for the overwhelming majority of you, your parents love you and care about you and are not disappointed in you at all. They just want you to see all the goodness and possibilities in yourself that they see. So that you can be the happiest version of yourself that you can be. You don't need to be some kind of super achiever. You just need to find something, or things, that spark some kind of joy for you. For not having her kid tested for speech and language developmental issues and seeking early intervention. I'm hoping she talks to the pediatrician and he tells her to get the kid checked out. I'm not trying to sound pretentious. It's just that a lot of these comments have made me realize how good of a kid I was and have been. My mom always made me feel like shitty and told me what a terrible child I was. Very emotionally and verbally abusive. These comments are making me feel better. To all the children responding about their parents. They are most disappointed in you for your lack of reading comprehension and answering a question not directed at you. Somewhere in the world. It's some kid who secretly knows his parents' Reddit handle and is having the most emotional devastation. Spends all damn day playing Fortnite. Not a parent but the child. My parents are disappointed in me because I basically failed out of college, UK, after demonstrating time and time again that I lack the direction, drive, foresight, and discipline to do well on my A-levels. My results came back today, Ed, and they're seriously pissed off. We'll be having a long discussion on my plan going forwards. But I can tell they've lost their faith in me. I can't blame them. I don't have faith in me either. I can elaborate if anyone cares. But I think I'll leave it here for now. I feel all you guys' pain. My son is 32. He is just undermotivated. No matter how hard I try. But I know there is a fine line between motivating and being so hard on him he goes the exact opposite way. I hope he will. I'm a widow and we live together. Always have. He is underemployed and loves the video games. Sadly, the apple didn't fall too far from the lazy tree. I have had a good job for 30 years and I hope he can find a way. He has finally started to feel the pinch of my one main income and how it limits our lives. He is trying and I just have to support him and give him positive reinforcement until he gets to a good place. Neither one of us dates and prefer to stay home and partake in relaxation. But I would maybe like to have a grandbaby one day. But then some days figure why bring a kid into this world. Good luck to us all.